Hello, Year 8. My name's Mr. Winter. You guys probably have never seen me before. I don't normally teach Year 8, but I'm the grumpy guy that comes in and normally moans at you, tells you to get out of the building. But anyway, I'm here to teach you about the USB lamp today and how we're going to make it. So this video is going to show you a bunch of different lamps that I've designed, and it's going to show you how to create them in the software that we're using. What I would love is that you guys come up with your own designs here. I don't want you just to copy mine because that's lame and boring, and to be honest my ideas are rubbish as well. So I want you to use my techniques and then adapt them to what it is you're doing. Now hopefully your teacher's already been through this with you and you'll have seen some example lamps and realised you're building all of this, but today we're going to focus on this acrylic piece here, which we're going to make on our awesome bit of kit, the laser cutter. And this is obviously going to be illuminated and can be pretty much in whatever style or design you can imagine. Okay, so hopefully you've been through that slide there, and hopefully if your teacher's doing their job properly they've also shown you this slide as well. If they haven't shown you this slide, can you have a moan at them and say, "Miss, you're not doing your job properly," or "Sir," but probably "Miss." Anyway, so you will have realised hopefully that whatever you design in 2D design has got different colours on it. Black for anything that's going to be outline cut, blue for any internal cuts, red for any engraving, and green will just be ignored. It's very, very important you use these colours. They're not just there for options. This is what our technician's going to set the machine up to do. So if you use the wrong colour in the wrong place, the wrong design will appear, and you'll be very disappointed because you only get one go at this. Okay, right, we're going to start out by first of all, what might not have been clear is that the design you're making is going to be made in two pieces that slot together. So you'll be creating two bits like that. They're kind of the opposite of each other with this slot in them. Those slots will line up, as in this lovely picture here. They will then clunk together, and then the whole thing will plug into a black unit. Now, what I wanted you also to think about, it is possible with plastic, you may have learnt this in Year 7, that if you heat it with a heat gun or in an oven to a hot enough temperature, it softens. That's how we mould plastics into different products, from your mobile phone case to your laptop to your TV. We use heat to form plastics. So we could actually take this design on the left, this one on the right is the same one, and if we apply heat to these areas, because they're cut, we can fold them and bend them into this interesting arrangement here, which I think looks like the guy from the cheese strings adverts, you know, "Oh, just cheese," that guy. Anyway, don't mind me, it's been a long day. So what I'm going to show you is a few examples that I've made, just to zoom out for a second. They're all on this page here. 6 different designs here, all slightly different techniques to build them. I'm going to show you how to make each of these. What I suggest you do is try and maybe if you've seen the whole video, or in fact actually just kind of go to the bit in the video that looks like the design that is, I guess, closest to the style that you're trying to create, and then maybe watch that. What I would love you to do though is don't just watch this whole video with your tongue hanging out your mouth like staring into the abyss. Can you just watch a little bit, like pause the video, then go and do that bit yourself, then come back to the video? Just use the video as a resource, not as a way to skive off doing anything for the next hour. You know who you are, those people. Okay, so there's some example designs, except that bit there, that's not supposed to be there. Right, and what they would look like in the flesh when they're finished, because I made each of them for you. This is my star themed one. As you can see, red for engraving, so all the outlines are engraved. This I like to call Squidward from SpongeBob fame. Don't ask me why it reminds me of Squidward, but it does. There we go, and again you can see how the red line has been picked out by the lights. These little sort of tentacle bits, I guess, could be formed with heat as well. They could be twisted, but I didn't have time to do that. This one is supposed to be a mushroom. I know it looks a little bit more like a jellyfish or something else entirely, possibly, but this is supposed to be a mushroom. But on this one I've used blue to actually cut holes out, and you can see how the outside of the holes picks out the light. So combining engraving and internal cutting holes can look quite good. This one was just supposed to be an interesting pattern, but I think it looks like the Tower of Sauron from Lord of the Rings. Any geeks in the house? But again, it really does look effective with the engraved lines on there, picking out all the lights. Okay. Any comic book fans in here. Got the Batman one. Again, I cut the text out. You have to be a little bit careful with fine details. If you're doing lots of tiny cutouts like this text, what you can't see very easily from the picture is that some of the letters didn't come out too well, so you do have to think about how small you make your details. There is a limit, but again, I think it looks quite good, and I've done this kind of cityscape. These are supposed to be skyscrapers in the background, okay? And then finally, our old Mr. Cheese String favourite. As you can see, this one started life like this, and then we heated it and folded it out. I hope that makes sense, okay? So, how do we build these then? Well, that's what I'm going to show you now. So, on the student drive, your teacher will point you to the correct location, but it should basically be student, which is the M drive, tech, and then year 8 USB lamp. In there, you will find this file called USB lamp template 2016. You need to save this to your documents. If you don't know how to do that, because you've grown up with an iPad and you don't know how to use a real computer, then ask your teacher, but you do need to save this to your documents. One thing you'll learn about me, by the way, is I'm quite sarcastic. Alright, some basic rules on how to work in this software that I forgot to mention, but I'm going to sort of slyly put back in the middle of the video, and it'll look like it was seamless. Right. To zoom in and out, over here you have the plus to zoom in and the minus to zoom out. If you click your middle mouse button in and hold it, you can sort of pan and drag your view around, which is quite useful. You can move up and down by scrolling as well, which is very, very useful. If you want to select lines to delete them, for instance, that is the arrow tool. Okay. All of these lines are grouped together at the moment. Well, most of them are. Sometimes you'll have a need to ungroup things, so you would select them, right click, ungroup, and you should now be able to pick individual points, and sometimes you'll want to group things back together, so you select them and right click, group. Other things you may want to do is, if I was to draw a shape, for instance, say this circle, I drag it out to size. If I click on it, I've got little options here, so I can kind of drag these side bars and these corner bars to stretch it and make it a different size. I can rotate it with this little circle on the corner, as you can see, and if I click the middle one, that allows me to drag my object around. Alright, these are the fundamentals of moving. Another really useful tool is this little one down here, which allows you to copy. So if you click that, you'll get an instant copy of your design. So I could select 2 and then copy again, and now I've got 4. Alright, and it's like bacteria. There we go. Okay, multiplying. Look at that. Alright, and then all of a sudden I might want to go, oh, let's group those together, right click, group, resize them all, and that could maybe form the start of a pattern in your design. Okay, I think that's pretty much it, apart from some rules that I need to mention. The biggest rule of them all is you cannot draw anything outside this black border, or this black border here. Alright, and also you cannot delete this rectangle within the box there, and you can't delete that rectangle within the box there. Or you can delete part of it, but not all of it. Alright, they need to be there because that's how it slots together. And as it says here in green, don't cut below the green line. That's so that your design can slot into the little black ring of plastic that we're going to make for it. Okay. Apart from the rest of my video, which you'll go on to listen to, if you can't find what you want to do in my video, I suggest you explore. Every single tool, if you click and hold on it, it's got a bunch of other tools that you can select. Okay, some of them even I don't know what they do. But generally most of what you want will be in the rest of the video. We've got this here, and we're going to now turn it into a different design. So the first one I guess we'll do, let's have a look at our simple outline shape. We'll do this guy first, okay? So I would start your construction with some simple lines, and there's a quick way and a complicated way of doing this. I'll show you the quick way. This tool here allows you to draw lines. Before you start drawing, I would make sure you have this guy here called attach turned off. Okay, so it should be depressed. All right. If you have attach on, what you'll find is your your lines will jump to the nearest point of contact. Okay, we don't want that. Step lock I'd leave on, grid lock, we can mess around with those later, but leave it set up like this and basically start drawing your lines. So I'll draw that line to start with, and you'll see, because I've been using this before, it's set up as blue. That's not very good, so I'm going to just delete that line quickly, draw it again, but I'm going to make sure the colour box next to line I've chosen black, because this is going to be my outside edge. Remember, we're trying to make this picture here, okay? And I'm just going to draw really roughly, okay? Right, now you might be thinking, well, that's great, sir, but that's not quite finished. It doesn't look anything like this. Well, there is a very handy tool. If you click where it says del any down here for delete any, if you click and hold, you get lots more of delete tools. The second one along, called delete part of an object, is the one you want, and that will allow you, if you see, you can click anywhere a line overlaps, like so. You have to be a bit careful. There we go. And you can see we've kind of made a rough approximation of this idea here. I'm not going to do it perfectly, I'm just going to do a very simple design. Alright, as this is slotting together, you'd probably want to do the same to the other side, but I'm not going to bother, we're just doing this really quickly here, we've got lots to show you. I'm going to show you how we made this little interesting pattern in the centre. This takes a little bit more work. It involves this guy called the contour tool. Now, this here basically traces around an outline you've already done, and you tell it the space between the lines. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Now I'm going to set it to maybe 2mm to start with. Okay, click OK, and I'm just going to click inside my shape, and it didn't work. Let me try that again. I'm going to do this slightly differently. I'm going to draw a line across there now, so I've got like this border here, and I will try it again. Contour 2mm. There we go. I don't know if you see what it did there. I click again. It basically, it's a bit like drawing circles within circles, alright? So, all of those now, if I left them black, will be cut out, and I won't actually get lots of interesting patterns. I'll just have one giant weird shaped hole. So what we need to do is we're going to select all of them, and we do that by holding down Shift on the keyboard while you click multiple ones. And then you can go up to colour again, next to line, and change it to that red colour that they need to be for engraving. Okay, you might have noticed I put a temporary line along the top here. This was just to give a border to my little engraved patterns. Okay, just to show you what that would do on this other piece here, if I used contour set to 2 and just click, it's not working at the moment because I think it thinks there's a hole in this line somewhere. If it does do that, just, you know, maybe make your own fake border. This is really rough, really rough. You know, just practice. Trim the bits off you don't want, and there we go. There we go. Okay, so I can make patterns all day long. So that's quite a useful tool, and obviously if you change the number on it, you'll get a different effect. Now, there is one rather frustrating thing about this software. You don't get no take backsies. You only get one undo. It's incredibly irritating. So say I deleted that line and I wanted it back, it was a mistake, I can do edit undo and it will come back. You can do Control Z, by the way, that does the same thing. However, if I delete 2 lines or did that, Control Z all day long, I only get one undo. This is really infuriating. It's a stupid bit of design, but anyway, if you get to that situation, you need to repair something, you could use perhaps the line tool, and I will show you with this tool over here called attach how to join them back together. So attach does what it says, it attaches to the nearest point. I don't want to spend ages trying to line it up, so as long as I've got attach turned on, you will see it kind of joins the line to the nearest point. Just to show you what that would do here, if I click attach near there and attach near there, and here, can you see? It's kind of joining them together. Now obviously we wouldn't want to leave our design like that because it would be a massive failure. Alright, so I hope that was enough to show you how to do that design. How long are we doing on the video? Geez, 11 minutes already. Okay, go and maybe try some of those techniques yourself, and then if you find you're missing the vital bit of information to make something in one of the others, come back again. Otherwise, continue listening. Right, that'll do for the first design. I'm going to close out without saving it, and I'm going to open it again, just because, there we go, I need a blank copy of it, and I've just opened the one on the network, which was not a good idea because I'm at home. Okay, so I'm back to where we are. Right, now let's have a look at the Batman design. This one was a little bit trickier. You could spend ages with all the tools here trying to draw this really fancy Batman outline. However, there is a cheat. So just to show you, if you wanted to do it the old-fashioned way, I would use this tool here called Path, and you could kind of gradually click, and you know, the more clicks you do, you could try and make a sort of Batman, but it ends out looking like, well, I don't know what the hell that is, but it looks awful. Okay, so we want a nice, clean, crisp Batman image, alright, or whatever it is you want to do. And this method applies also to the mushroom outline and to the star outline. Okay, what I did was I went on the internet. So Google, don't use Bing, that's for weirdos. Go to Google and type in something like Batman logo. Okay. Now and go to images, obviously, under Google. Now what you're looking for is a nice, clean, crisp, simple background, black and white image. Something like that's too fussy, too many colours. Something like this. It has to be simple shapes will work. Okay, so I'm going to pick this guy. I'm going to right-click, copy, go into 2D design, and I'm going to paste. Now don't worry about sizing it for now, because we'll do that in a second. But this next bit is very, very important. Go to Bitmaps, Vectorize Bitmap. Click on your Bat logo, and you'll get this window up here. Now we need to choose monochrome because the laser cutter can only, it doesn't work in color, it's a cutter. And what you may have to do is drag this bar here back and forth. Okay, this just kind of adjusts the resolution of it until you're happy with how it looks. Alright, so I'm going to leave it about there. Click OK, click OK. Now technically that is in a form that can be cut out. However, that is a bad idea to cut that out. If you remember, the laser cutter just follows anything black and cuts it. It won't just cut a black outline, it will sit there going back and forth, vaporizing every single piece of plastic inside this black outline, which would take days. We just want to cut the outline. So we want to turn our Batman into an outline drawing first. So select him. To do that, sorry, select it, go up to Fill, up here, choose No Fill, click Apply, and OK, and you're left with a perfect black outline of Batman, rather than you messing around with the tools up here to draw it. From this point on, you can just use your little bar, your boxes on the side, to kind of drag it and size it, put it into place. Okay. Now what I should have said, and I forgot to mention it earlier, this outline is the maximum size you can have your plastic. So if you think you're some kind of smart T-pants and you're going to make like some mahoosive Batman logo where it's bigger than the border I've given you here, that will be rejected by the technician. He won't make it. Okay. Excuse me, I'm just having a swig of tea. Yeah, it's got to be the right size. So it has to fit within this border. So resize your Batman to fit within there. And then obviously you'd want to join that up to the rest of your design. So this is where I use my kind of snip and join technique. So I think I used kind of a line here. Alright, it's drawing in blue again, so let's delete that. Sorry, I don't know why mine insists on drawing in blue first. I think yours will work in black. So I think I had a line here and a line here, and then I did some rectangles with the rectangle tool. Really it's about playing around, and I kind of made these into my skyline. Alright, something like this, and then my second tool along for delete, and very carefully delete the bits you don't want anywhere there's an overlap. This is the bit where it's very easy to make a mistake. Okay, now I've deliberately kind of stuffed up a little bit there. Obviously I don't want the top of that Batman bit anymore, so I'm going to delete all these parts away. But I've got a line missing there. You might remember our friend attach. Click and click, and I've rejoined those together. Okay, I hope you can see now how that will start to work as a design. Right, we'll also show you in this video, 17 minutes in, it's like half a lesson, how to make holes in this. Okay, so we might want to make holes, you could make them in the same way you've done before. So for instance, you could do something like that, you could use contour, set it to maybe, I don't know, 3mm, change that to the colour blue. Alright, delete that little bit we used there, and now we've got our blue internal shape for Batman. You could do it that way. Or if you want to do text, as in like I had on my design, I had Batman written in. This is a little bit harder, but we do it like so. So we get this tool called text. Type what you want to type, Batman, select it all, go to settings. Now, if you want your text to actually come out correctly as a whole, you need to change the type of text to stencil. You'll find that under here. There we go. Now, the reason you want stencil is it allows all the letters to be there without losing the holes from the middle. Like the hole in the A and the hole in the B would disappear otherwise. You can set up a few settings here, so you might as well go line color would be blue. Fill would be no fill because we want hollow text, and click OK. Right, and you can see what that's done. That's made you your Batman text. You can see what I mean by the holes in the letters get held on with this font, and then obviously you'd shrink it and rotate it, okay, and put it wherever you want. So I hope that helps you with putting text into your designs. Okay, good. Pretty much the other designs I've done are just a variation on that. Okay. The only one that wasn't was this guy here, the Squidward design. The star one, I just got loads of stars off the internet, did that Vectorize bitmap thing, joined them together, snipped away the lines where they overlapped, and then drew the red crosses round and round and round. Okay. This guy I used the freeform tool, so that kind of squiggly one here, by lots and lots of clicking. Alright, and then drag that into place and put it on there. Alright. As I said though, that's pretty much it. It's down to you to mess around and experiment. No doubt your teacher will have lots of tips and tricks. Use my ones for inspiration, by all means. Do remember that I want to encourage you to kind of work with the thermoforming, like heat it up and use heat to bend areas of it. But you need to kind of imagine what that would look like in 2 dimensions, like this, before folding it. Do remember that the designs have got to slot together, so there should always be a little bit here that slots into that bit. I would strongly recommend you don't touch that and that. Okay? I've said here in green, don't cut below the green line, so I don't want you cutting out anything on the bottom because that will mess it up. If you wanted this side on this one a bit shorter, it's fine to kind of put your, sorry, just turn attach off, put your, I don't know, your rectangles like this. And cut the whole thing down a bit shorter, as I've done there. Okay, being careful to trim away the bits you want. There we go. Okay, that's fine. So long as you've got some part of this hole here left to slot into this hole here. Alright, if you don't leave that there, if you delete that, you will have big problems with design and it won't fit together, and then you'll have to get the file out in the workshop and it'll be a massive palaver. Okay, I may well do a second video showing you some more tips. I haven't done that until now. If you need to know any more, talk to your teacher, or if you're really desperate and your teacher doesn't know how to do it, come and find me at lunchtime and I can probably show you that. Right, but you can save a lot of your energy by getting ready-made shapes off the internet. But the most important thing of all is remember the slot needs to be there. You can see on all of mine, slot, 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 and remember to use the correct colours. Okay? Right, thank you for watching. 21 minutes. Woo.